All right, Robert.
Well, unlike Barry Jenkins, I don't have 3 degrees. Okay, so
It's all right, dude. You
this
don't
may
need
not
it.
be as technical. Okay, all right.
Oh, you're the best, man. For those of you who don't know Robert Slack, he pretty much runs all of Florida. Is it 7,500 transactions? And he's got a massive team that primarily focuses on online leads. Now his massive database retargets to them, brings them in. He's got a huge VA team too that handles a lot of those calls. And the structure is absolutely amazing. Robert, how long have you been in real estate?
So I got I got my license about 8 years ago, and 6 years ago on the 1st of November, we opened a brokerage with 4 newly licensed agents, and we thought we were really kicking it, so and now we have about 650 agents, of which we have several teams. The leads team is the largest, and then we have a traditional model with a cap, and we also have a flat fee model, but they're much smaller than our leads, because once people have had leads, then it's like, we got to have them forever. So
All right, I like that. So take me through the structure of your organization, because I think that can give people direction and hope, and just have a clear understanding of what you're really running. What does that look like?
I think it's very important to have a structure. And fortunately, early on, I realized that we needed a definite structure, because I couldn't do it all just because of my age, and I was running out of gas and everything else. So, and some things that other people can do a lot better than me. So I opted early on to, because we're going to be in several areas in Florida, was to get a team leader in each of those areas. And today we have like 16 team leaders. And unlike what Tristan said, we're not in all of Florida. We're only in 730 zip codes, and there is about 1,500 in Florida. So there's a few that we're not in.
Come on, that's half. You're half.
Yeah, we're only in half of it, Tristan, so anyway, so we got some team leaders, and then I realized that, I'm good at some things, but I'm not good at others. And one thing that I was good at was building the company. The thing that I wasn't good at was running the company. And so I had a friend and a fellow broker in Orlando by the name of Dan Walters, who I took a little bit of an unorthodox approach. I invaded his area on Zillow first, and so he called up to see what the hell I'm doing in his area, and anyway, we became friends, and so he ended up becoming a partner with me, and he does the running of the company, and I get the wild ideas and stuff like that. So it's been a very good relationship, and then we just built out from there. So we have his chief operations officer, and we have, as I say, 16 team leaders. 16. And then we have a chief technology officer, and of course we have marketing department, and we built two title companies, which have now merged into one, and we have about 30 loan officers in our mortgage company. And this all runs out of Orlando. So my daughter also is in the company, and she is the kind of head team leader.
Okay.
So when the other team leaders have issues, then they look up to her, and she's the chip off the old block, so she takes care of it.
I love that, dude. So with this big organization, my biggest question, and I know people are thinking this, how did you scale so quickly? Because 8 years in real estate to be like the #1 team in the world, that's pretty
well
insane.
So we started off with Zillow, and Zillow leads are very cheap, and then we went through them merging with Trulia and all this other stuff like market-based pricing, which really wasn't market-based pricing, but we bought a lot of leads very early, and then of course we flipped from Zillow to Realtor.com. And at that time I was on the Zillow advisory board, and they soon kicked me off. They couldn't take that joke. So I went to Realtor.com and became acquainted with Bill Sperry, who never saw a lead in Florida that he couldn't sell me, So
Of course, that's Bill.
So his magic words were, "Hey, Robert, we got 70% off." So I thought, "What do you got, Bill?" "Okay, I'll send you a list." Okay, so on things like Palm Beach County, it's like we didn't have any agents in Palm Beach County. But he said, "I got this great deal. I can give you 75 if you'll take everything with me." Bill, why not? Let's do it.
Bill's the greatest salesman on earth.
Oh, gee. So anyway, I called Dan. I said, "Oh, by the way, I just bought $650,000 of the leads in Palm Beach County." He says, "But Robert, we don't have any agents there." I said, "We got to get some. It's okay." And so we accumulated a huge database early on. And today we have 1 million people in our database. When we did talk about pools, now we talk about reservoirs, and but it's been very good, and we've utilized those pools. We use Follow Up Boss, and they're awesome. And then we got into Ylopo, and that just opened the floodgates again, and so we just kept on plugging on, so.
Well, I have a couple of questions for you, but first I want to go back a little bit, because you did a podcast with Ylopo earlier last year or the year before,
Right.
where you mentioned that it kind of went through your whole origin story as a real estate agent. Can you go through that really quick so people understand that you didn't start when you were 30 or 28?
So
right?
I was when I got my broker's license, I was 67, and I got it because I'd gone through a particularly low period of my life, and I was totally out of money. And I'd been selling cars for the last 2 years. And if anyone's ever sold used cars, then they know that's about the lowest of the low. So I thought it's got to get better. And so got my broker's license. I got some Zillow leads, and we pretty much hired anybody that wanted to come on. And I started recruiting. And after 90 days, I took myself out of production and got into recruiting, and we'd recruit anybody at that time.
All right. So you said 67 years old?
Yeah.
All right. You started when you were 67 years old. Amazing.
Yeah.
How did you get the funds to go ahead and go all in on like Zillow leads? Where'd that come?
Well, all in with the Zillow leads actually was $148, Tristan. And I got the funds. So I got this call from Zillow, and it went something like, "Hey, Robert, this is Eric from Zillow." And some of you might know who Eric is, and he was the Zillow equivalent of Bill Sperry. And he said, "I got this great zip code in Ocala, 34476, and it can be yours for $148 a month." Okay. And I was so sick of selling nothing that I wanted some action. I was ready for the action. And so I said, I thought about it for a minute, looked around. My wife wasn't around, but a credit card was on the counter. So it's like, "Eric, let's do this. Here's my card number."
First question to Eric. Eric, is it okay that the credit card isn't under my name?
No, they don't care. If you got $148 on it, it could be anybody's name on it. They'll take it. Okay. So, and you know what? True to his word, I got a ton of leads that first week or so. And I thought, damn, I'm getting so many leads. I'm going to need a team. And we treat those leads as though they were they were gold, as though the last leads that we ever got, which they might have been if I couldn't pay the $148 to the credit card company, So,
all right, dude. So Robert, a lot of people buy leads, and they don't have the growth, the massive growth that you do. What would you say?
Well, so if you're going to buy leads, first of all, you have to have the process to handle them. Do not spend a nickel on leads if you don't have the process to handle them. Okay. And we fortunately got Follow Up Boss right up front, and we learned how to handle them, and got the right zip codes, and hired some of the right people. And I get it. It looks as though we did it fairly quick, but I don't have 30 years to do it in. I got to get it done.
I think that was probably one of the biggest incentives for you to continue to do this quickly, because you're like, okay, I don't have a longer time because most agents are starting off in their, well, the
Yeah.
average age of an agent is 54, right?
Yeah.
So, so I think that the question is then, what drives you, man? What makes you go like this and just go? And where did you get the structure from, or the lack of
So it
structure
was,
to say, I need it?
yeah, well, I didn't want to fail because I was going to be back to selling used cars, and I'm sure as hell I didn't want to do that. So that was the motivation that I had. And then we got this machine built after 3 or 4 years. We had just an absolute machine going, and it just drove itself. And so then I brought on Dan Walters, and he was driving the agents, and I was making the deals with Realtor and looking for other lead sources. And we really, it became a self-driving engine. After that, it became like a locomotive with no brakes, so.
Okay, so now let's fast forward. You've got
Right.
1 million people in your database. That's massive. I've only got 100,000, so you're way ahead of me. 1 million in 8 years, dude. That's crazy. So how do you make sure that you follow up with those? You love that.
So let me tell you about that million. People talk about good leads and bad leads.
Yeah.
There are no bad leads. There are only agents who don't know how to follow up with those leads, so. But anyway, to get back to the story. So the line between VAs and ISAs with us is a little blurred. Okay. Because we started, well, first of all, we had a call center in Ocala. And then we decided to get one going in the Philippines. And so we have got about 120 people in the Philippines. And we're way underutilized in the Philippines. We're seriously underutilizing it, but we're going to take care of that. So, but for a start, we have Wailopo. So all the leads that comes in, they go on to Wailopo. They get property sent through Raya. And then any Y priority or hand raises, they're all answered. In the northern part of Florida, they're answered from the Philippines. The southern part of Florida, we also have another call center in Venezuela who are bilingual. The Philippines aren't bilingual. So, people say, well, why don't you run them all through Venezuela? Well, the Philippines are half the price. So, but they do a lot of our
nurturing on the database.
Yes, the Y priority leads, the hand raises.
Okay,
and so they're contacting all of them. They're asking them, are they in the market for a home? Would they like to see one? Would they like to speak to an agent? And then we use a 3-way direct handoff to our agent in the zip code through Follow Up Boss.
All right, so let me just break that down for people that are listening in. That kind of goes, Robert, when you jumped in and to the Tom Ferry one at the beginning, he was kind of talking about finding those points for when to contact people, right? And you brought up Y priority leads. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's just what Wailopo says are leads that are engaged right now on your website and performing actions that are important enough for you to reach out to right now.
Right.
And so Follow Up Boss, the CRM that we use, both Robert and I use, it says, hey, these are important. And what Robert is structured is for those leads now to be called or texted by his virtual assistants. So then they have the right scripts to be able to reach out to them. And as they convert, or they say, yeah, you know what? We are interested. We're thinking of doing this and that, or we want to see this property. Then he's got a system through Follow Up Boss to be able to send it out to those agents that cover those areas. Did I miss anything, Robert?
No, you're right on. You did it better than me. Okay.
No, dude, I learned it from you. So I'm just regurgitating.
All right. So also what we do, so we do push listings. We have 20 of our, I don't want to say lesser talented people, but people that maybe have a little bit of an accent and they struggle on the phone a little. we have them sitting there sending listings to people who show a little bit of interest now and again, and they're sending listings to about 50 people a day each.
Okay.
And they're just pumping out listings, these people. So that's another group of them, you know. So then in Venezuela, it's a little different. Now, whereas the Philippines are on the other side of the world, and it's 6,000 islands, and everybody works remotely. And we have hub staff in our computer to make sure that they are working, but they're not bilingual. Venezuela, obviously, bilingual.
Yeah,
they're in our hemisphere.
You're in Florida, so that's
Right.
like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, all these places that you need to speak. I mean, some people don't
Yes.
even speak English there, right? And
Yes, correct. Yeah.
that's fine. You need both. Okay, makes sense. I love it. Continue. Sorry.
All right. So in Venezuela, we have also, well, we do the southern half of Florida for the people, for the leads, for the Y priority, for the all of the new leads that are coming in. And then about 60 of our agents have virtual assistants, and they pick their own, they interview their own, they do it through our company. The people in Venezuela are more expensive, but they are Spanish speaking.
Got it.
And so what our agents find is that if they're an agent that's doing 10 million a year right now, they've got no life. Okay. If they don't have an assistant. So they have a choice. They can do 10 million, have a life, or they can do 16 million because they get a virtual assistant. And so a lot of the very high producing agents that we have increased their business dramatically. Just by having people do mundane tasks, well, not mundane, they do the follow-up, they set appointments, they do the follow-up boss, they write offers.
That makes sense.
And so a lot of these people in Venezuela are professional people that don't have work because there just isn't any work for them to get in Venezuela. So they're engineers, school teachers, lawyers.
That's funny, Robert, because we find the same thing. I mean, you have both Venezuela and Philippines. Our team, and actually my 3 businesses, all use virtual assistants. Like half of our staff are virtual assistants.
Yes.
And we get them out of the Philippines. And you're right. I've had people apply to be part of our organizations that are ex-doctors, engineers, like they have these like executive level jobs that are just not finding work right now.
Right.
And this is the talent pool that we have, the ability to grab. And I think that's important because now you said, and this is something that Barry and Carrie and Tom Ferry said, which is now you're allowing your agents or your organization to now stay within their lanes and say, hey guys, you do this so well, continue to do that. So the agents that are producing continue to produce. Let us handle the follow-up. Let us handle the text. Let us handle all the data on the background, right? Let's all of us work together to grow. And I think, Robert, agents are sometimes scared to let go and say, well, why would I do that?
Tell me about it.
How do you deal with that, dude?
So it's so once they've talked to these virtual assistants and found out that they can do all of the stuff that they're put off or not good at or whatever, you know, and they do their social media marketing and social media posting and all of that stuff, they talk to them 2 or 3 times a day, and they become really an indispensable part of their business. Now, the difference between the setup in Venezuela is that they work out of a brick and mortar building, and they have a supervisor for every 15 people. So it's a very supervised organization.
Do you own part of that company or no?
No. We use I'll be honest, we use a company called Miami Virtual Assistants.
All right. And How about the one in the Philippines? Do you guys have your own?
They all work for us directly.
Oh, so they
Yeah.
work for you directly. Perfect. And
Yeah,
how many?
yeah.
I just want to understand the dynamic with those. Do you know the numbers of how many people you have in the Philippines and how many people you have in Venezuela
It's
approximately?
about 120 in each.
Just so people listen. Just so people listening in. Robert, people freak out that I have now 19 virtual assistants out of the Philippines. And
Yeah.
I mean, to see 120 each, that's insane.
We are way underutilizing these places because there's lots of other things we should be doing. You know, we should be buying lists from Vulcan of expireds and FISBOs, and we should have a team calling them. And we're not. And we're slacking, obviously. So, so we need to, there's a lot of things that we could be utilizing them for that they're underutilized. Now, recently we did start doing our transaction management for our agents, and we do that in Venezuela.
I love that.
And it works very well. So there's if people are doing it over here, they can do it over there cheaper and faster. So
I agree. I agree.
So don't bog yourself down with all of these relatively mundane tasks. Get out and do what you do best, sell real estate, and you can send them the message, write this contract, and they can get it done. So
that's it. All right, Robert, what are you excited about next? Because you're moving at an incredible pace. Tell me, what is your organization going to do next that you're excited about that you can talk about? That you can talk about.
I'm not really sure. I mean, one thing I'm always very optimistic about is that we are going to do some other things that I haven't yet stumbled on. But we will be definitely utilizing these Venezuela and the Philippines way more than what we are now. We'll probably acquire some more brokerages this next year and build it up, because with the infrastructure that we've got now, the mortgage company, the title company, then we can, sometimes the best way to acquire agents is just to buy the company and be done with it, So there's no doubt that we're going to get a lot bigger. By the end of next year, we'll have 1,000 agents. And so it's exciting.
I love it, dude. Well, look, just a reminder to everybody watching, this event was made free to everybody by Virtudesk, which is a virtual assistant company right out of the Philippines. So we put up the link up there. Everybody take a look at them. Robert is a great example of being able to leverage.
And so I didn't know that that's who was sponsored it, by the way.
No, don't even worry about it.
Lab coat.
No, don't even worry about it. We work with a lot of different people.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, if you're not using VAs, then you're missing out, because even your social media, your advertising, all of that stuff. And the Philippines is a service-oriented company because they have no manufacturing to speak of. So all of their people that go to school, they teach them to do service industry jobs. You advertise tomorrow that you need 100 people to do your follow-up boss. You'll have 500 applicants on Monday that'll all be very familiar with follow-up boss, or for marketing, or for doing your QuickBooks or whatever. So they're very good at it, and there's an unlimited supply of them.
I love that, man. All right, well, thank you so much. I have a question from Rama. Rama says, are you expanding to other states?
Possibly, but being that we only do about 2.5% of the homes in Florida, we need to get that to about 5% first.
Ooh, I like that response, dude. And for those of you that missed any of Robert's talk, or Tom or Barry's or Carrie's earlier talk, this is recorded. And Barry, can you place up the link to the leverage community, because that's going to live there so people can watch it on there as well. Robert, you can hang in there if you want and interview Carrie with me, or you can jump out anytime you want, my friend.
All right, thank you. It's always good
Robert,
to be on.
that was so impressive.
I love
really
that.
Amazing story. And I'm in Florida now. I would love to get to know you.
You're in Florida?
I am. Yeah.
Whereabouts?
My team is in Washington, D.C., but I just moved to the Deerfield Beach area.
really, I'll be in Fort Lauderdale this weekend. I have a condo there, so
Oh, awesome.
send IM me and we'll get together. So
Sounds good.
and I could fix you up as a really good broker. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
I'll text both of you right after.
So Robert, this is my 4-month-old and his name is Tristan. So I had to introduce him to Tristan and have him say hello to you.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, it's one of my grandkids out looking in the background, so.
So cute.
Little nugget.
Tristan.
All right.
Yeah.
He's gonna go so I can present, but I was snuggling him over here.
Yeah,
I love it.
perfect. So baby Tristan, huh?
I love that. All right. Well, Carrie, you met Robert. I think, have you guys met each other before?
No.
No, this is the
No.
first time.
Oh, perfect. You guys definitely need to know each other, so I'll connect you.
Everybody's trying to invade Florida, Tristan.
Oh man, tell me
Then
about
you'll
it.
have
Great
Long
place
on,
to
and he's trying to come in, and Anthony Lamacchia's trying to come
Everything's
in.
It's so easy. Come on, why not?
No, it's really tough here, I can tell you.
I'm joking. That's so funny. All right. Well, Robert, thanks, buddy. And feel free to stay on.